All right, everyone. We're just going to wait for our glorious CEO, Ignacio. He's going to be just an extra minute or two. We can't wait to get stuck into this big announcement that we've got coming up. And I want to thank everyone for joining. And give us a minute, wait for Ignacio to join, and we will kick this off. All right, I think we're all here. Maybe we can cut that hotel lift elevator music. We're good for that now. Ignacio, can you hear us? I think you're in Hong Kong right now. How's it going over there?
Hong Kong is amazing. I gotta say, I had been to this city, I've been a few times throughout the years. I think it went through a tough period in the pandemic, post-pandemic, and I gotta say, the energy is back in this city. It's fantastic, amazing place to do business, especially in Web3 and crypto.
Come on. Yeah, a lot of big players out there. Something not everyone knows about Hong Kong is it has the cheapest Michelin star restaurant in Hong Kong. Have you been to it yet?
No, I haven't, but isn't that Singapore?
No.
Ignacio, it's on the list I sent you of places I went to the other week. It's all on there.
Well, this is how busy I am. I've been working from dusk till dawn, but the weekend's coming and I'll be taking my time. Thank you, Sam, for sending the list again. I'll be hitting that place up. How long is the line?
It's long. Yeah, it's long. I think I waited about 20 minutes, 30 minutes. So it's not that long, I guess, but I think it's called Yat Lot.
Yeah, it's Yatlock. I waited about 15 minutes. However, do you know what else is in Hong Kong? The #1 bar in the world as of this year, and I waited 4 hours on a wait list to get into that place.
What was your drink, Sam?
I went with their classic. I went with their house drink. It was awesome. Actually, Ignite, I don't think it's far from where you're staying. I'll send you it 'cause I didn't put it on that list. But yeah, #1 bar in the world as of I think about a month ago is in Hong Kong as well. Hong Kong is collecting all the #1s.
Interesting. So good. So good. Well, guys, thank you everyone for joining us. Obviously, we've got Ignacio, our CEO of Bondex, and we've got Sam, our COO of Bondex, both joining us today. And you know what? We've got some really big news to share. I'm obviously not going to share the news. I'm going to leave that to Ignacio. But I just wanted, before we share that, kind of, Ignacio, it's not kind of what I gave you a heads up about, but I'd love maybe before we share the news, just give people a sense of what the last 6 months have looked like, maybe the last 8 months for Bondex. We've been building, we have been hustling very hard, but would love you to kind of walk people through what has this last 6 months look like, and then we can get into the news that we want to share.
If I have to leave it to three main core missions and absolute priorities that we've been working on at Bondex. Number one is we did our token launch. We are trading now as a public company on some of the largest exchanges in the world. What's more remarkable is even though we're a little bit to a rocky start, I hate crying over spilled milk, but there were a few bad actors that spoiled the fun for us at the start. The liquidity volume and price action has been absolutely fantastic. So number one is doing our token launch. What has been the second focus? Well, we had to fix our market infrastructure. A Web3 company is composed of a triangle, 3 core verticals that need to be absolutely flawless in order for you to have a top project in the space. Number one is the fundamentals. That means revenue, vision, mission, your product, your services, revenue. The second one is marketing. How good are you at building a community? How good are you at transmitting your vision to the market? And number 3, markets. What does this mean? Being on the best exchanges, having a lot of liquidity and volume, that there's enough retail activity, that there's enough institutional buyers, and there's also good market making, providing liquidity so that there's buying and selling. I am sad to say that for a while, we were at odds with one of our providers and vendors in this side. So the second priority, apart from doing the token launch, has been getting control of our tokens and fixing our market infrastructure. Now, what has been the impact of this major change? I don't know if anyone's looked at the chart in the last weeks, but our perp, our spot volume across exchanges is absolutely phenomenal, including our chart. This is not financial advice, but this is just factual. I think we're over 140% in terms of price appreciation on the chart. So number 2 has been our market infrastructure. Now, number 3, and most importantly, we have been consolidating our leadership position as a number 1 market for Web3 talent. And we have not done this completely organically. I cannot take all the credit. The reason is M&A. I come from a mergers and acquisition background. The rest of the team has mergers and acquisition background. Sam over here from distributor.com, acquired a few companies in the past. Martin, our co-founder, was at Goldman Sachs. And it turns out that M&A and acquiring companies was not something that was really in fashion in Web3. However, it's an incredible tool to acquire market share, to acquire users, to acquire clients. And we acquired Web3 careers. So if I had to sum it up, not again in 3 core things: token launch, number 2, market infrastructure, number 3, mergers and acquisition and acquiring Web3. That has been the 3 pivotal things that we've been working on in the last 6 months.
Really exciting, and definitely seen the impact of the Web3 career acquisition, especially when we go around to kind of conferences, when we're meeting people. Web3 career is a really well-loved brand, which, I mean, I actually would love to then, let's just segue in. What is the news today, Ignacio, that we want to share?
What is the news? If you are in the Web3 industry and you've ever looked for a job and you go to Google and you type Web3 jobs, Web3 careers, remote roles, there are only a handful of websites that provide these services as a job board. Web3 careers is number 1. I think Bondex ranks number 3. Remote 3 ranks number 2. And I'm extremely excited to say that we have executed our second acquisition. Remote3.co is now part of the Bondex family. We are now the undisputed leaders of the talent marketplace in Web3.
I mean, this is huge. And I think one of the things as we ran through the stats here was we realized that with this acquisition, we now, for every other person looking for a Web3 job, so 1 in 2 people, they're now going to be coming through the Bondex ecosystem. So the numbers around that, the last 30 days with Web3 careers, we've had around about 1.4 million views on the page, which is massive. And with Web3, with Remote 3, we're now adding an extra 100, it's actually going to be more, 200,000 page views. And really what's important here is that positioning and the traffic capture, which is every other person now looking for a Web3 role, for a job or a role or a career in Web3 is now going to be part of the Bondex ecosystem, which is just huge. And how did this come about, Ignacio? How did we approach this? Like, how did we end up acquiring Remote 3?
Paul, again, I want to repeat that. Every other person in the Web3 industry that is looking for a job lands in one of our platforms and websites. We own the majority of the market. Having a leadership position in any market is one of the biggest advantages and differentiations that you can have to build a business. This scales revenue, brand awareness, but above all, it also allows us to get people the jobs that they deserve, because we have the most amount of great opportunities that we can give access to our users. So it's incredibly exciting. How did this come about? Well, once you acquire one company, it's hard to stop. It's kind of like opening a bottle of Pringles. Just kidding. But essentially, once you are able to execute a merger or an acquisition effectively, which is very hard, most M&A deals actually fail. I learned that from my banking days. Once you're able to integrate a platform successfully, integrate its synergies, integrate your platform and technology so that it's accretive. And again, the most important thing, add value to your users. Other players in the market take notice. And I got to say, I think we have at least 2 to 3 M&A deals that are offered to us on a weekly basis. Some of them have nothing to do with talent. They just want to sell to us because they know we're in the market and we're buyers. But so this came to us in a very organic way. And not so organic. I think, Paul, after we acquired Web3 Careers, which actually that one definitely for sure, they reached out to us. They saw what we were building in Bondex. They have a job board, right? It accomplishes a very, very simple service. It gets people jobs and it gets companies the highest quality talent. In this case, we started looking for other assets in the market that would be attractive and would be accretive and have good synergy and match well with our technology and add to the ecosystem. We are now a full-fledged ecosystem composed of several companies and brands that working together are the Bondex talent ecosystem, the #1 talent ecosystem in Web3.
Sam, from your perspective here, would love you to jump in terms of why this matters.
Yeah, sure. So I think just to repeat what Ignacio said there, we get a lot of deals come across our desk now. Once you build the muscle for how to buy companies, which we've been building over the past year, and it becomes easier. Like the cost to do it, the paperwork is similar, and the business understands how to put these together. Also, once you do one, you're kind of a trusted person who's not just going to mess people around, and that's definitely been happening to us. There's all these deals come across our desk. But with the remote free deal in particular, what we really saw was that Web3 hiring is super fragmented. It's lots of different places, no real clear resource, no clear profiles and reputation, and that layer that the Bondex is really building. And we wanted to be able to get that into as many places as possible so that people can leverage it to open opportunities for themselves, and businesses can use it to find people. So we worked with Remote Free and we ended up purchasing the company just so we could do that. It makes Bondex the default entry point. Our dream is that, when you think, hey, I want to start working in Web3, the first thing you do is make a Bondex profile. That's what we want. That's where our company is going. And each of these acquisitions that we make builds on that value, right? It's not just like a 1 + 1 = 2. It's more like a 3 × 3 = 9 kind of deal. And we have more in the pipeline that we're looking to add to this across the board in different areas that really, build our core business of helping people find opportunities. That's what we're really about, and helping them build and leverage their reputation across the board. This also means that from an even wider perspective now, companies pay for hires and not speculation. So they're not, looking for to mess people around or do anything like that, or even the other way around, right? We all know crypto can be a bit of a gray area sometimes. With our reputation layer, we're trying to remove that and bring that back to what it really is about. And this helps us do that. The other part is, and this is going live soon, hopefully Paul doesn't mind us talking about this, but we've got an ATS, which many of you won't really care about, but it's an applicant tracking system. So when you apply for a job, that's what companies use to review you and move through you through a pipeline of, have spoken to, have read their resume, have interviewed, have an offer out to, etc. That's all through a system called an ATS. And what we offer on the business side is that ATS to customers. And by plugging that into more and more places, matched with reputation, it helps us and helps you as new applicant find more job opportunities, and helps companies manage it in a more consistent way. None of us like getting ghosted. None of us like disappearing or not knowing if anyone's looked at our resume or our profile. That's what we're trying to get make better here. And by purchasing Remote Free, we add another brand that now will be doing that as we integrate our technology over the coming months.
It's really exciting. The thing I get very excited about is actually really helping people get jobs as well and get discovered. So when I think about the page views and the traffic that Remote 3 gets, not just from users looking for roles, but also from companies looking to post, that's bringing in obviously more revenue for us. But also for users getting hired, I know that one of the things we are really passionate about doing is actually helping users get discovered. So when job roles go up, they're automatically recommended to those companies. And that's, hey, like, these are the best talent that's there. And in a space that really suffers from a lot of lack of trust, there's a lot of bots out there. There's a lot of fake and bad actors. So the Bondex professional profile, we believe is going to become that de facto profile for people who are looking for a role in Web3, as Ignacio said, but also the most trusted profile in the world. And we've got some great product updates coming out to allow, people's profile to be even more trustworthy. Can't wait to announce what they'll be soon. But I really get excited here because, as you mentioned, Sam, it's so fragmented. This the whole, how do I get a role in Web3? It's so fragmented. But with Bondex, definitely seeing that as the ecosystem rolls in, we're seeing a much more unified approach to helping people get roles. And it's pretty exciting from where I'm sat, which is obviously the marketing angle. And I get very hyped up about it. But it is exciting. But Ignacio, what does this kind of mean in terms of, maybe not for the job seekers, but for those looking at the BDXN token, looking at its utility? How does this purchase, how does this acquisition kind of play into the future of the ecosystem and what we're building with BDXN?
Absolutely. On the utility front, the idea is for these services to be tokenized. As our ecosystem continues to include additional platforms and services, the Bondex token becomes the pivotal utility token that powers the entire platform. That gives utility and velocity to the token, which should impact its value. I need to be careful about how I speak on financial terms. Number two is, everyone in the space has woken up to fundamentals, meaning you need to make money as a business. Believe it or not, this was not something that was prioritized in crypto whatsoever. The companies that we've acquired generate revenue. In fact, generate a good bit of revenue. And the best companies that have performed in the entire space are the ones that are able to generate enough revenue to then buy back their own token or buy and burn their own token. This allows for the token to appreciate in value. I gotta say, we are very well on track to make that happen. So yeah, that's how that impacts. Number one is utility, additional platforms. Again, the most important thing, allowing and giving more opportunities to our users, giving greater utilities to the token to become the professional token in the space. And number three is it enables us to scale revenue, to go beyond cash flow positive and begin buying back our own tokens and having buy and burn mechanism and the redistribution of token value to our users and our token holders.
And Ignacio, in terms of the tokenization, the ecosystem, would love you to maybe just double click a bit on that. How do you see the future of kind of applying for roles, on-chain reputation, job application processes, the idea of talent moving through the ecosystems, gaining experience in different companies and how that may show up on chain? Like how does the Bondex ecosystem kind of play into that?
Well, we're becoming the cornerstone of the talent economy in Web3, and our plan is to be the cornerstone of the entire digital economy. We use blockchain as a trust layer to verify credentials and evolve from a PDF resume. Think about it. It's 2025. People are getting hired with PDF resumes in which there's a lot of lies, inaccuracies, etc. We are using blockchain to evolve from a static, unverified resume to a verified, dynamic digital reputation. And by having all of these different job platforms and owning most of the market, we enable and we boost the adoption of this evolution of a resume. And in addition, through the tokenization of it, we create a new incentive system, a new economy that redistributes the value to the job seekers and the investors. That's how essentially what it means for the talent, what it means for the token economy, what it means for the entire Web3 talent market.
Really good. So Sam, coming to you, and what's kind of next for, what's the kind of like the next steps for us with Remote 3 and even with Web3 Career?
Yeah, sure. So, as I talked about building that muscle of M&A, the first part is being able to actually execute and, do the deal. The second part is being able to integrate it. And that's the part we've been working really hard on the Web3 side. And so on the Web3 Career side, we've been slowly integrating our technology, cleaning up what was in there. We love the seller. He's a great guy, but it was built by one person. It wasn't built for a team to look at it or for anyone else to really understand what was going on in there. So we've been putting in that work so we can really understand the system and slowly make changes. So those changes are starting to roll out. You're quietly getting pushed out right now over the next few weeks. And from there, that's just integrating our technology, right? Getting Bondex profiles in there, getting the ATS in there, improving the, way the site functions for both business users who are, buying the job posts and for people applying for jobs. Remote 3 is very much the same roadmap. It's first understand what's going on inside there, and then integrate our technology. And, it'll be faster this time. Whenever you use something for the second time, it's quicker and you just get better at it. You know the right questions to ask, the right places to go and look. And then from there is to build that into a specialized place within the Web3 community for hiring and growing its access to both candidates and companies, its user base on both sides, and then getting that pushback, that kind of merging back into the reputation layer to really help surface that information on there as well.
Really interesting. I mean, obviously, I'm privy to some of the development that we're building, and the idea of helping users get more discovered is obviously what I mentioned before, getting really excited about that. And the millions of page views that we're now, millions of page view traffic that we're now getting, and allowing that traffic not just to land on the job roles themselves, but also on the users. I get really excited about that because there's some incredible talent and that needs to be discovered, and that Bondex can really play a part in now in helping the best talent wherever you live get discovered. And yeah, I get very excited about that. And Ignacio, kind of long term, how does this play into the vision of kind of building that Web3 trust layer, that Web3 professional trust layer?
Well, we're building the most trusted professional network in the world. But Paul, actually, just because I think I sent you the stats earlier today, can you read out to me some of the most successful consumer apps in the space by revenue? I forget where I sent it to you, but
I forget where I sent it to me as well. We have so many channels.
Okay, well, the point being is that actually, if you look at the top 10 consumer apps, Pump.fun is in there, Hyperliquid. It's very difficult to generate revenue in Web3 because the supply of people who have adopted the technology is relatively small. However, the hook for people to use Bondex is one that is incredibly sustainable and incredibly high quality. It is not driven by speculation. It is driven by people wanting to accelerate their careers, and it is driven by companies wanting to access the highest quality talent. This is a much more high quality audience and a loop and hook for people to come and use a product and a service. And then you add tokenization to it. Again, now I'm going to read it. Paul has sent it to me. I'm not going to talk about Tether or Circle, Hyperliquid. Those are the top ones, but maybe it'll surprise some of you. Out of the top 10, Pump That Fund generates 36 million a year, Ethena 32, Sky Protocol 17, Jupiter 27, Phantom Wallet 22. There is not a single company in the top 10 that relates to a consumer app. They're all DeFi, they're all wallets. None of them serve a purpose other than holding digital assets, sending each other money, or speculating. We are one of the first companies in the entire Web3 space that generates revenue at scale from providing a service that has nothing to do with just frivolously making money or speculating. We make money from getting people jobs and getting people talent. This is it's something I'm incredibly proud of. And guess what? Human capital, people, talent, that's what companies are made out of, right? That is the most valuable asset in the labor market. It is people. And by us having the keys and being the cornerstone to enable that matchmaking between people and companies and generate revenue, we are at a very, very good spot to be one of the biggest companies in the space. And we're not going to do this from scratch. We have proven out this acquisition model. We've built out great infrastructure, but in order to accelerate integration and adoption and scale revenue, we are going to continue with acquisitions. We're going to continue with roll-ups. We're going to continue to scale our revenue through mergers and acquisitions. In the short term, we're going to be integrating Remote 3, our latest acquisition, our latest addition to the ecosystem family of Bondex. Long term, we are going to continue to build our Web3 professional layer, the most trusted professional network in the world, underpinned by blockchain as a verification layer and made more efficiently by artificial intelligence, matching, and career coaching. Again, we are using obsolete infrastructure, not just in Web3, but in Web2, for people to find jobs and for companies to find talent. This leads to monopolies to exploit your data. This leads to recruiters and matchmakers extracting too much value for what they provide. This leads to the anxiety of so many people that just want an opportunity to work. And I am done with it. I believe that through the disruptive technologies that we find in blockchain and that we have in AI, we are going to be completely disrupting the labor market by providing modern infrastructure. No more PDF CVs. All of the hiring in the world, out of 80%, recruitment is a 400 billion a year industry, but 80% of hiring happens via direct referrals and recommendation. It comes down to trust. Trust is what makes the world move around, is what makes people transact, whether it's money, whether it's exchange services, their time and skills. And what we are doing is building a new type of labor market underpinned by blockchain technology. And it's all because trust is what we are solving for. We're building the most trusted professional network in the world. We're doing this by both building incredible products and services, but also by acquiring companies in the space, accelerating our adoption, scaling our revenue, and enabling a very, very attractive and sustainable economic and token economic model that is going to propel us to be one of the number one companies in the space.
I've said it better myself, Ignacio. Excellent. Really agree. Especially when you look at, LinkedIn's generating around 17 billion each year. And there's just so much opportunity to build these profiles and build these networks in a new way. Love what you're sharing there. Sam, before we close this up, is there anything else that you kind of want to add or want to share?
I think the main thing for us is that, as Ignacio talked about there, the resume and the LinkedIn profile and the fact that static piece is a relic, and the world deserves better, candidates deserve better, and companies deserve better. And Bondex's real mission is to make that better, right? We're not taking the status quo of this is how it's always been done and we should do it the same way. We're saying there's a better way to do this, and we're building that, and we're using blockchain not because it's a fancy technology or AI because it's the hot phrase. We're using it because it really is the best technology to deliver the future that we see. We're not just chasing hype or names here. We're really building a great business that has fundamental understanding, one of itself and also of the wider market it operates in. We're starting in Web3 because we think that's a market that's growing fast, and we're all fans of the space, and that's where blockchain originates from. But we really see ourselves as breaking into the wider market in the future. And as we master what we're building here and get people on board and have more users and more utility for what we're doing, we'll be able to continue to grow that business into the wider market. And it's what happens when Web3 just becomes web.
I love that, when it just becomes web. To everyone that's listening, the entire space is really motivated by short-term money. Here at Bondex, we launched in 2021. We've built through a tough winter. We built because we're true believers in fundamentals. We're true believers in building sustainable business models. We're true believers in our mission, and we're going to execute it no matter how hard it is. And we're not here for a quick buck. We're honestly, as corny as it sounds, we're really here to change the status quo. And that's not something that I think most people can say in this space. And I'm really excited for the future.
Awesome. Well, I think it's a great note to end on, Ignacio. So Sam, Ignacio, thank you for helping kind of us announce this today. And guys, for everyone listening, I want to say thank you for joining. We hope you get excited about this announcement. Please do share and let people know that we are building, we're here for the long term, and that this remote 3 acquisition, it's going to really help more people get hired, and it's going to help us really push this ecosystem forward that we're trying to build. So really excited to share that today. Thank you guys so much. And for all the Bondins, we will see you on the next spaces.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day. Thank you.